Okay, you'll remember that in the last two chapters, chapter 7 and chapter 8, we met Elmer Elevator, the little boy's father, right? My father's dragon. He met a lion, remember? And the lion was upset about his mane because his mom was coming and his mane was all messy and had little branches in it. And what does Elmer Elevator give him? He gives him, right, the bows and teaches him how to do his hair all nice and neat, right? And so then he gets very close to the dragon, almost to the dragon, and guess what happens? He meets a gorilla, right? And the gorilla jumps out, and the gorilla's got fleas. And so Elmer Elevator pulls out his magnifying glasses, and remember his magnifying glasses. Remember, he hands them to the monkeys to hunt fleas, and guess what? Those monkeys found the fleas. Okay, so let's see what's happening. He's trying to help the dragon. Remember, to get to the dragon. We haven't even seen the dragon yet. So chapter 9, here we go. My father makes a bridge. How does he make a bridge, I wonder? So my father walked back and forth along the bank, trying to think of some way to cross the river. He found a high flagpole with a rope going over to the other side. The rope went through a loop at the top of the pole and then down the pole and around a large crank. A sign on the crank said to summon the dragon, yank the crank, report disorderly conduct to the gorilla. It sounds like the gorilla's in charge of the crank for the dragon. From what the cat had told my father, he knew that the other end of the rope was tied around the dragon's neck. And he felt sorrier than ever for the poor dragon. If he were on the side, this side, the gorilla would twist his wings until it hurt so much that he'd have to fly to the other side. And if he were on the other side, the gorilla would crank the rope until the dragon would either choke to death or fly back to this side. What a life for the baby dragon. I know, I feel sad for it. My father knew that if he called the dragon to come across the river, the gorilla would surely hear him. So he thought about climbing the pole and going across the rope. The rope was very high, and even if he would get to the top without being seen, he'd have to go all the way across, hand over hand, and the river was very muddy and all sorts of unfriendly things might live in it. But my father could think of no other way to get across. He was about to start up the pole when, despite all the noise the monkeys were making, he heard a loud splash behind him. He looked around in the water, but it was dusk now, and he couldn't see anything there. "It's me, Crocodile," said a voice to the left. "The water's lovely, and I have such a craving for something sweet. Won't you come in for a swim?" I wouldn't go in. Not with a hungry crocodile. Look at that hungry crocodile. He's on your page too. You can look at him. Okay. A pale moon came out from behind the clouds, and my father could see where the voice was coming from. The crocodile's head was just peeping up out of the water. "Oh, no thank you," said my father. "I never swim after sundown, but I do have something sweet to offer. Perhaps you'd like a lollipop. And perhaps you have friends who would like lollipops too." Boy, he has the perfect stuff in his backpack, doesn't he? "Lollipops," said the crocodiles. "Why, that is a treat. How about it, boys?" And a whole chorus of voices shouted, "Hooray, lollipops!" And my father counted as many as 7 crocodiles with their heads peeping up out of the water. "That's fine," said my father, as he got out 24 pink lollipops and rubber bands. I wonder what he's going to do. "I'll stick one here in the bank. Lollipops last longer if you keep them out of the water, you know. Now one of you can have this one." The crocodile who had first spoken swam up and tasted it. "Delicious, mighty delicious," he said. "Now, if you don't mind," said my father, "I'll just walk along your back and fasten another lollipop to the tip of your tail with a rubber band." "You don't mind, do you?" "Oh, no, not in the least," said the crocodile. "Can you get your tail out of the water just for a little bit?" asked my father. "Yes, of course," said the crocodile, and he lifted up his tail. Then my father ran along his back and fastened another lollipop with a rubber band. "Who's next?" said my father, and a second crocodile swam up and began sucking at the lollipop. So here he is. So there's the lollipop on the shore, and then he's attaching one to his end of his tail, and then another crocodile is going to be right there sucking on the lollipop. I think that's the bridge. Okay, let's see. Now you gentlemen can save a lot of time if you just line up across the river, said my father, and I'll be along to give you each a lollipop. So the crocodiles lined up right across the river with their tails in the air, waiting for my father to fasten on the rest of the lollipops. The tail of the 17th crocodile just reached the other bank. So he crossed across on the backs of the crocodiles. Chapter 10, My Father Finds the Dragon. When my father was crossing the back of the 15th crocodile, who was with two more lollipops to go, the noise of the monkeys suddenly stopped, and he could hear a much bigger noise getting louder every second. Then he could hear 7 furious tigers and 1 raging rhinoceros and 2 seething lions and 1 ranting gorilla, along with countless screeching monkeys, led by 2 extremely irate wild boars, all yelling, "It's a trick! It's a trick! There's an invasion, and it must be after our dragon! Kill it! Kill it!" The whole crowd stampeded down the bank. As my father was fixing the 17th lollipop for the last crocodile as he heard the wild boar scream, "Look, it came this way. It's over there now. See, the crocodiles made a bridge for it." And just as my father leapt onto the other bank, one of the wild boars jumped onto the back of the first crocodile, and my father didn't have a moment to spare. There's the dragon. Look at him. He's all tied up, poor dragon. By now, the dragon realized that my father was coming to rescue him. He ran out of the bushes and jumped down and down, yelling, "Here I am! Here I am! I'm right here! Can you see me? Hurry! The boar is coming over the crocodiles too! They're all coming over! Please, hurry, hurry!" The noise was simply terrific. My father ran down to the dragon and took out his very sharp knife. "Steadily, old boy, steady! We'll make it. Just stand still," he told the dragon as he began to saw through the big rope. By this time, both boars, all 7 tigers, the 2 lions, the rhinoceros, and the gorilla, along with the countless screeching monkeys, were all on their way across the crocodiles, and there was still a lot of rope left to cut. "Oh, hurry," the dragon kept saying, and my father told him to stand still. If I don't think I can make it," said my father, "we'll fly to the other side of the river and I can finish cutting the rope there." Suddenly, the screaming grew louder and madder, and my father thought the animals must have crossed the river. And he looked around and he saw something which surprised and delighted him. Partly because he had finished his lollipop, and partly, as I told you before, crocodiles are very moody and not in the least bit dependable and are always looking for something to eat. The first crocodile had turned away from the bank and started swimming down the river. The second crocodile hadn't finished yet, so he followed right along after the first, still sucking his lollipop. All the rest did the same thing right after another until they were all swimming away in a line. The 2 wild boars, the 7 tigers, the rhinoceros, the 2 lions, the gorilla, along with the countless screeching monkeys, were all riding down the middle of the river on the train of crocodiles sucking pink lollipops, and all yelling and screaming and getting their feet wet. Oh my goodness. So they're all going down the middle of the river. They're no longer going across the river. They're going down the middle. My father and the dragon laughed themselves weak because it was such a silly sight. As soon as they had recovered, my father finished cutting the rope, and the dragon raced around in circles and tried to run and tried to turn a somersault. He was the most excited baby dragon that ever lived. My father was in a hurry to fly away. And when the dragon finally calmed down a bit, my father climbed up onto his back. All aboard, said the dragon. Where shall we go? Okay, so here's a picture of what they saw when they got in the sky. They saw all of the 2 wild boars, all of the 7 tigers, the lions, the monkeys all up on their backs, the gorilla, the rhinoceros, they're all floating down the river. That's funny. All aboard, said the dragon. Where shall we go? We'll spend the night on the beach, and tomorrow we'll start on the long journey home. So it's off to the shores of Tangerina, shouted my father, as the dragon soared above the dark jungle and the muddy river and all the animals bellowing at them, and all the crocodiles licking pink lollipops and grinning wide grins. After all, what did the crocodiles care about the way to cross the river? And what a fine feast they were carrying on their backs. As my father and the dragon passed over the ocean rocks, they heard a tiny, excited voice scream, "Bum, bum, cack, bum, cack. We need our naggin. We need our dragon." My father and the dragon knew that nothing in the world could make them go back to Wild Island. The end. So there he is, flying away. Okay, so that's this one. This is my father's dragon, and the next book that will come in the mail is called Elmer and the Dragon. Okay, Elmer and the Dragon. So we'll see what happens in Elmer and the Dragon. Okay, I love you guys. I miss you every day, and I pray for you every day. So, love you. I hope I see you soon. I miss you.